Unicron. No one does like the things you do.
To me.
It comes out as a spear, doesn't it? And you can just put it straight onto the stand, right?
It comes out as a spear, doesn't it? And you can just put it straight onto the stand, right?
It's Saturday night, it's 7 o'clock, and welcome to Transformers The Show. Huffers and the guy on the furthest left has got a bum erection. The bum's trying to get in. Hello and welcome to the show, episode number 63. On tonight's show, we've got some news. We've got a Cliffjumper from Newage, plus a third week of Galvatron pictures. But most importantly, we've got a massive unboxing, which Alexis is going to do from Unicron. Huffer. No, not Huffer. Unboxing. Turd biscuit. It's going to be Unicron. Unbox on the show, all the news, all the views, all the latest reviews. Onto the Z News.
I talk some TV, and now the news. Don't touch that dial.
So, Hasbro Mainline news, of course, more Galvatron pics. So, yeah.
Say it with such enthusiasm.
Well,
Galvatron
do you know what it is?
Damage.
Do you know what it is? I'm still really torn on this because there's times when I look and I think the head looks too big, the chest is too wide. The arms almost look like too thick and too stuck. I keep wanting to think that his legs are mistransformed slightly. Yeah, but I don't know. Other angles I look and think, damn, that looks actually pretty good.
Yeah, but you keep going about Jodie Marsh. Stop it. Move on.
Every week.
Is this the bit we were meant to laugh at? I don't know.
See, that's why we have Alexis on the show. It's the comedy genius.
Yeah.
I mean, from the back, it's...
Do you know what? I just want to know, do you think the battle damage isn't really battle damage? It's just Hasbro's quality control issues. And we've all just presumed it's battle damage.
I don't understand why they've carried on with the battle damage look.
Because it's not battle damage, it's quality control issues.
But in some of the photographs that are going to come up, I don't think it's battle damage. Potentially, it's just where the guy, with the photocopier took the last pictures, probably just scraped the photo. You could probably use a Polaroid this time and just scraped it in the front, so it just doesn't come up well when we use it for...
I've changed my mind, Alexis. You should start drinking earlier.
Yeah.
He does look like he's about to flip the finger in that photo.
He did.
I thought he looked like he was going to a nightclub, Not by but those are like...
I think it looks good. I look at that and then I start to get yes, this could actually be the Galvatron we've been waiting for literally since the movie came out.
Do you like his two-tone gun?
I can live with it. It's his particle cannon. Again, it's one of those things where I look sometimes and I think, is it looking a bit too big? Like the actual barrel, the orange barrel part being a bit too long. But
you can never have too big a gun. That's what I say.
He's one that they have to get right because he's got an alt mode that is like you can be really. You got a lot of flexibility there with the alt mode, so it can all go into the robot mode. And you'd think they would have done it already, but.
See, I keep looking at the old Galvatron and just wish if they gave that guy a proper head,
it
would be like.
I know, because that Super Megatron showed that mold actually can really work if you put it together right. I mean, the Super Megatron was awesome. And he looks good in that one. I mean, that's a good shot. People will see that.
Do we have any idea what the price might be of this Galvatron?
He's leader class, isn't he? I'm right in saying that. So I'm guessing about £50. Between 45 and 50 is the usual standard.
50 quid. 50 quid.
And then it's the release date, which we haven't had yet because these are all still leaked photos, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned about sort of the alt mode versus road mode. Obviously, back in the day, it always used to be the alt mode was the thing, right? They looked like the thing. And I think a lot of the Siege now, they've sacrificed alt mode to make the robot a lot better, to make it how you want it. Some of them, like Shockwave, doesn't really have an alt mode as an example.
Well, the Cybertronian modes, they definitely took some liberties with those.
Remember, Shockwave is not very keen to make things a gun anymore for Alexis.
He's a submarine or a spaceship.
He actually does have a fairly good gun mode. It's just not amazing.
Yeah, but it's a gun, but they're not keen in guns.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's that thing that Hasbro tried to move away from using guns as an alt mode, and even when they did do them kind of 10-12 years ago for the classics Megatron, they made him into a Nerf gun essentially because just can't look realistic.
But I
mean,
do
for
like
Galvatron, it's not really an issue because he doesn't turn into a gun. Well, he did. The toy did, but did he?
Gun, and he had a cannon form.
Yeah, but I think he only turn into the gun form like the
I thought
laser
he
gun
did both.
form once in the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
run and everything. It
Yeah.
wasn't common. I mean, the toy did, but
Yeah. But the toy had a
These-
light up feature. You could push the button. It went,
I didn't
That
realize
was pretty good.
he was Swiss as well, and it's great to see that they represent that with that Swiss flag in his Cap Crunch. Absolutely didn't know that.
That's amazing,
Oh.
Paul. I think
that's incredible.
Hasbro really are pushing the boat out to represent Switzerland.
You
'cause
got Lindt
what-
chocolate,
what's-
haven't you? Galvatron.
Yeah, but apart from that, what
War
else
of
have we got
Worlds.
to offer apart from we stay out of every single war? You know,
With the Shenzhen agreement.
Oh dear. And speaking of Kingdom, we had the official photos from Takara of Kingdom Rodimus Prime, or Rodimus. Is he Rodimus or Rodimus Prime? Whichever. And a nice comparison photo there.
and the thing is,
That's
even
a
though
good
it says most people are talking about £80 being the issue, I have seen them go up for pre-orders at $72.99.
yes.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
so
Get
yes,
in
a
early.
little bit cheaper. So I don't know if that's just to encourage people to pre-order early.
And can you remember Siege? Omega Supreme had that super level of detail. He seems to have that in his robot mode. If you go back a
Indeed.
screen, you can see all the lines. It just reminds me of that Siege Titan. They just seem to really go for
it is a good sculpt.
Mm.
And people complained about there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, I'm not fussed about the trailer thing." But if you liked the G1 toy, and the G1 toy was one that I actually quite liked when I was a kid, but now as when you're grown up, you kind of realize its limitations. But I think that trailer and the gun emplacement thing, they look all right.
Yeah, I have no qualms about paying, especially when you think about Nemesis Prime, which was just the truck came out about 72 quid, didn't it?
Yeah.
And I know it was kind of import, but you still, and people are moaning about this price saying, I won't buy this. And I'm thinking to myself, give it 2 weeks, they will freaking crack like an egg and they'll be going,
Yeah.
I would like to buy this, please, but not at eBay prices. Those type of posts will be flooding.
The only thing I would say about this is, and I don't normally care that much about this, but when I look at the wheels on the car and everything, the fact that the wheel trim thing isn't painted at all, the wheels aren't painted, it just does seem a bit cheap. Hopefully the final version maybe will. Not that it's a deal breaker, but it's just like you're looking thinking, would it really been cost that much just to put a bit of paint on there?
It does look good though, in that I think that the actual the trailer looks good. I think it's got a bit more function
Yeah.
to it than what you get what got with Prime trailer. I don't think it's going to be much bigger than the original Prime trailer, which came with, which I know was obviously people felt was quite small. But again, I do think they've sacrificed the automotive a little bit here. They've made it again a little bit long.
Yeah. It is a
But
car slotted
It's
in.
cool that it's cool that you can open up the trailer and you can it's actually a proper functioning trailer. I think potentially.
Yeah,
You can take
I think there's play value
take
in
the
that.
can out.
Because we forget that, or maybe we are the ones it's kind of directed at because we are the adult collectors, and that Hasbro has acknowledged that they are now making these toys for the adult
We are the
collectors.
chosen ones.
We
But
are
exactly.
the one.
But
We are the
But
we are
future.
the children.
the kids would want to play with. If you give it as a play set, I think all of our kids would want I want to play with that. But anyway, moving on.
I'm buying it for my boy. He wants it for Christmas. He said already.
Windblade, Furai model
Windblade.
Windblade.
He's getting Windblade for Christmas. That's pretty cool.
Same toys.
The Fury model is it the cheaper version or there's no price on it or anything? I can't tell.
No, we've only got the
£120.
release date at the moment. It
Only
won't be
put a
cheap.
price
will it?
on it.
You can't put a price if you.
You can't put a price on joy, Alexis.
Oh,
I mean, Hasbro do try.
And it's not like Windblade's the controversial figure.
No.
It looks really cool.
Yeah,
It does look good.
Remember before the pandemic when Windblade was all people talked about?
It was
The good
non-stop.
old days.
When you can
And
go
that is
outside.
actually all of the mainline news, other than we don't have a picture of it, but the rumor of some new masterpieces, which apparently will include a Jetfire, a masterpiece G1 Jetfire. So that's quite an interesting one. I'd be interested to see how they do that, considering how good, for example, the Siege version of Jetfire is.
It'd be interesting if Fanstoys do a little re-release of if they go head to head. I don't think they will, but they tend to do that. Anyone says, I'm going to release something that looks anything like something that we released in the past, they tend to release it, but they haven't got them against Hasbro yet. So we will see.
We will
Cool.
see.
Right.
And then we go on to third-party news. And
So
this was the first thing.
So this is another one of those Printformers things. Funby Studios have released the blaster chair. So what's a racket about this fortress, or however it goes. I can't do the voice. So, but I don't know what blaster is. Which blaster is that? Is that the Titan's Return blaster? Was that the original blaster? No, Titan's Return.
Maybe Titan's
It
Return.
looks like Titan's Return, I think. If the Ultra Magnus is the Combiner Wars one, isn't it? That you see in the picture on the right. So it would make sense scale-wise.
So it's quite big. So I think you might even be able to get the Masterpiece version tucked in there. I don't know how big Mags's hips are really. So
is this the same company that did the Squid?
Yes.
And it was free, wasn't it?
Yes.
Is that correct? So do we know, is this free again, or are they actually starting to charge? Was the first one a freebie to get people interested?
I would hazard the guess, definitely. I would hazard the guess.
Why do your research?
Yeah, exactly.
I love the fact that I gave you two options. You went, yes, definitely. Which didn't actually choose either option.
Hang on, wait a minute. I have an answer for this. You can't put a price on joy. Okay, next photograph. Next photograph, please. So I just thought you can have it up or down. So you can have it up or down.
Probably going into too much detail now.
It's a real functionality.
And then there's one from the side, so you can have it. There you go, as you can see.
We don't understand
base. So it's pretty cool.
That's the best explanation of it. You can have it up or down, either of the two ways. And then we went on to a Galvatron.
This is so if you're wondering, this is actually what a Galvatron should look like. This is X-Transbot's version of their Galvatron,
which is called Abaddon, because the Greek version name of it is, and this will ring a bell with you, Alexis, is called Apollyon, which of course is Megatron. So they actually announced this 6 years ago, 2015.
How long?
X-Transbots.
Yeah.
6 years.
They still. It's not like they're showing fully finished models. They're just still showing renders.
I have pre-orders, paid for pre-orders from companies like this, which are about the same age.
Cool.
Sorry.
So Abaddon, realm.
There you go. There's the shot.
So it's Abaddon, realm of the dead.
That's it. Yeah. And
how big is this again?
His name in Greek is Apollyon, which is the Megatron, what they call Megatron.
About 9 inches.
Or is that? Oh, I can't remember.
That's not masterpiece scale, though, is it?
Babe.
Yeah.
9 inches.
It's masterpiece scale.
I always thought they were slightly bigger than that.
It's also got the Swiss flag, which is
now you sound like a.
Do you think Switzerland is overrepresented in the Transformers community?
Oh dear. £150 or
that's actually pretty good.
For 50. MFT. Is it MFT?
Fanstoys Legends.
Watch out for my
I looked at this when I first saw this photo. I only glanced at it. I thought it was a repainted version of the Kingdom Inferno, because from a first glance it looked so similar to the Kingdom one, and it was only when I looked at it properly that I realized that's not the same thing. But it looks good. If you like art fire.
Upscaled, I don't know what Alexis thinks, an upscaled Magic Square. Like, it's just something about it looks exactly the same. I can find out.
The thing is, though, this is the first one they've done. So MFT haven't done a Grappler Inferno. Papa Toys did one, and Magic Square have done them. But these guys have gone straight in with the mold that you don't want, or the mold that no one has got. So people might pick it up. So. And watch out for my point, Paul. From the sounds of it, it probably was as sharp as your joke.
Oh my god, the passive aggressive atmosphere.
I love you.
It's going to be a fun night. And then a version of Cliffjumper.
Newage Cliffjumper. So
he doesn't look very happy.
It's going to come into a
He looks quite ugly.
With
it's a
intelligence officer, which is Bumblebee.
The face sculpt's actually pretty good in that. He does look like a stern, grumpy, but like stoic.
Like somebody's
going to
nicked
be
his
really
crisps.
small. Like it probably
got bullied by the bigger boys.
It's going to be tiny. Being Newage, it will be really, really small.
Will he be a prototype? Though,
I don't think
an unfinished
the Bumblebee mold looked great. To be honest, I think that the alt mode looks good.
I mean,
you've got tiny, like really tiny.
You got this, and you got Iron Factory, right? That's it. And Iron Factory looked nothing like Cliffjumper. So, it's the best. You can argue there's 50-50 chance, right? Which one do you like best? Comes with a few accessories. It's got decent head sculpt. I think it looks a bit clunky the fact that all they're trying. Maybe they're trying to do too much. I don't know. So with all the extra panels and I don't know. I think the Magic Square.
Bumblebee's got more size, hasn't he?
I was saying,
did you see that Bumblebee last week, or was it the week before last?
Yeah,
we
he's almost
did.
out, or he is
We
out.
did, but just the one photograph here was because you get his jetpack. So 2 photographs. You get his jetpack as well now. So it's quite cool.
And the hair dryer.
Exactly.
You played
Somebody's
the YouTube
kid
video,
really enjoyed that
just
joke.
Your other half. It was almost like science.
And that is the news.
Bye news. Right, now on to the big unboxing event of tonight. We won't keep you waiting any longer. It's Unicron. And now it's time for that massive unboxing of Unicron. Over to you, Alexis. Show us your massive ball.
All right, here we go.
Your one ball.
Straight
He's only got the one, but it's a beauty.
Primetime Toys, Greg and Paddy. Well, so
Hey, Greg
everyone
and
asked
Paddy.
me about things like, do you pay customs? Yes. How do you get it? Well, post, but you know. So there was 2 options. You could do it on airmail, or you could do train mail. I did train mail. So, ooh, hello, first joy. Ooh, instructions here in colour. So you get a nice little instruction booklet, which I have a little flick to Cara told me it says. Instructions of what's in the box, how to put it together. So the first things first, you get the stand, put that together, clips on fairly easy, that pops on, and there you go. And we'll go that far today, and then tomorrow, and then for the rest of the year, we'll do a stage by stage. So if you tune in tomorrow, viewers,
We'll say something funny.
I was going to say, he just stopped.
okay.
I changed my mind. That's getting better.
So the options were plane or train, and I chose train because by train, the customs was prepaid in the shipping. So I paid a little bit extra for the shipping, and then didn't have to pay customs fees. It will include, and these skids again. So it's got some little safety bits here, some rocking around, which is nice. Hear that ping?
Reach around for that ball.
Put those to one side for the moment because we're not going to ring him up tonight.
It looks like it's quite a big ring piece.
No one's going to put a ring on it tonight. Beyonce can should be turning in her bed.
I thought you
She's
would
not
say
dead.
grave there. She's not dead yet.
I was going to say.
In her bed. I said.
She's not dead, I
You're
promise.
No, I
watching
didn't
in
say
a
she's
bed.
dead.
Is there any
Beyonce will be
women you're
turning
not
in her
watching
bed.
in a bed?
Well, she's probably relaxing. So you got your stands, which is fairly big. I'll put that up here because this is where it's going to go. I have
That's a
no
big
place.
stand.
I have no place for this. Everyone's saying where you're going to put it. It was going to go up here, but I got a text saying, you know, it's coming this morning. I went, oh, is that what that is? Shut fuck. So not ready at all. Lots of packaging. Lots of packaging. I want to fast forward this bit. Oh,
Cool.
protective packaging.
Wow.
There's nothing inside the box.
Oh,
Fake face.
it's a dolphin.
Bonus.
Oh, dear.
Yes. So we've got the other half of the stand. We'll do that because we need to work out how this actually goes. And I probably should have looked at the instructions about which end goes into which bit already. So so let's put this on here, and then we can all admire it.
Big.
Even Jamie. So let's a bit more of that. So best way to take him out. Oh, he's got his rings. And he's I imagine it goes this. Oh, it's not too heavy actually. It's just awkward. How does that go on there? They haven't got the instructions. Can you have a look at that for me?
No, you're the only one who's got it.
So you've got his head tucked in, so we can get that out. This looks pretty good. So in each of the corners, you've got the extra little bits, so like his head and I guess other bits. So there we go.
That's a big head.
He does give big head, big horns. I still think they're big horns actually. Generally,
Yeah, like Steppenwolf.
oh,
So the head has to detach for transformation.
that Zack Schneider was amazing. So it just seems that it just goes in the instructions straight on.
I mean, Unicron is a
It,
platformer.
it just goes straight on. So
We'll send it back.
I'm not having a platformer in my collection.
does it just go straight on?
I can see his fucking hands, that Huffer bastard.
Oh,
It doesn't say if there's a top or bottom. Oh, they're the same actually. How does that go? So
hello and welcome to When Unboxings Go Wrong.
Alexis, a man in his late 40s, finding it hard to find the hole.
Trying to hold in his dad belly.
that's it.
So that speeds you up.
How's that? Cheers, mate. Is that it?
Do you think they'll release this? Re-release it?
I hope so. I thought you were asking, is Alexis going to be able to
My thumb's caught. Just clips into that, and that goes over the top of that. And... Okay. Okay. There.
See, I think a lot of people have had trouble with this stand because in all the videos I watch, it's almost like there's a cut and then suddenly the ball's just magically on the stand, like they've just placed it on.
I think this is it now. So this goes in this way.
Oh,
I think that's it. I think that's it.
that looked
I
good.
think that's it. Okay, right. I think that's it. Yes. Yes, that's it.
Nice.
There we go. And then you get to play with your...
It was only one person who
Get my
said,
teeth. My hands are broken. I can't get my teeth out.
there's only one person who said, make sure it's inside and not out.
So, yeah. So you've got to open the first. Open the. About to sit down in the box then. Knackered. Friday night. Here we go, guys.
I would take it off that stand until you're absolutely sure. I don't want that thing rolling off.
No, that's it. That's insecure, mate. That's insecure.
All right, good. Okay.
It's insecure. It goes in. It's so because it clips. It slides in. So it's sort of it's like it slides in on both sides. Like and it's got like a thread. So it slides in almost like it's going like a lift, like 2 lift bars. It's going the rail of a lift or a steel beam, and you you fly on the inside of that. It slides in on both sides. But the way you've got to do it. You've got to undo the first this section here. Then the other section, and that allows you to fold the longer bit in past where the body parts are inside. So you pull it out and fold it back in, almost like itself, like a tongue folding back onto itself. Push that back in. Sorry, undo the other part then, because there's clips which clip on top. So each panel has a clip which then clips into itself. So you've got to undo those bits there, because even those bits they clip onto it as well. So it's not just, it doesn't just fold flat on top of it. It proper clips in. It's a thick panel. It's strong. You're not going to break it. You just got to work out the order it goes in. So, but that's like that's in. We're done.
Nice.
So
Awesome. I'll get
There
you
you go, sir.
to do mine now, Alexis, when I get mine, because you'll be an expert.
Glad we got that. So I'll move this out of the way and we can crack on with the show.
It's only 2022 now, so it's
Nice. Right. That's cool.
Stupid bird.
I want that explained.
I have a bird in my house. It's a wooden one. Got bought from wherever my parents went on holiday one time.
oh.
It's made of
Wood.
That was an awesome unboxing, and now it's time for the most important part of the show. Is now time for Fanstoys Innuendo.
Will it ever end though?
Obviously, we're all fairly. We all know Nils Eriks, the Danish 85 from Sweden. So when you're not listening to, look at the guy who's fourth.
Look at all of them.
Look at all of them.
They must get so much tail.
Is one of them got hemorrhoids? Is the first guy got hemorrhoids? I don't know.
I just think, is that a band
Or someone
or is
twisted
it
his-
a register?
The guy on the far right is far too close to the man next
No,
to
but
him.
look
He's
at- Look at the guy.
Why is his
First
trousers
guy.
bunching
It's
out
almost
that
like
much?
someone's turned his waist
It's got a
around,
tent
hasn't
pit.
it?
the guy on the furthest left has got a bum erection.
Yeah,
the
Bum
guy,
is trying to get in.
I was noticing
Nice
the guy on the far left. The guy on the far left looked very happy to have four men behind him. He looks very happy.
Yeah, look at his bum. His bum's
Yeah,
gone
but I
erect.
think
I didn't know
he-
you could do that as a human.
The
I
guy
think
in the
he was
middle's not so sure.
I think it's a Photoshop going wrong. I think he was facing the first guy, and they went, that looks a bit dodgy. So we're just going to turn his top half round.
The guy second in. I'm not going to go through this because we'll probably get sued. Let's not mention anything else.
Just so you know, this is going to be something fans' toys. Just before the question comes
So,
up.
Do you want to read it out? Do you want to read it out?
But
Paul?
it's the first time in my life, and I'm a serious businessman. When I go to business, I do serious business. But these are 4 cufflinks, serious business. I've never felt the need to wear 4 cufflinks. Yeah, that band from Sweden. So, any ideas of who it could be?
I reckon it's Nils Eriks. Is
The
that the band?
Dinobots.
Oh,
Look at
5.
him knocking at my. Is there a clue?
Looking at my doorstay. No. I was going to 5 then.
That helps.
Who's Farmer Zhong? Farmer Zhong.
I'm guessing it's the
That's the
person who
person-
provided it for him.
Is it? Okay, that's not a clue then. So,
Mm,
oh, sorry. Is the clue Nils Eriks then?
yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, great.
Is it? Is it because there's 5 of them?
Is it? No.
Some kind
No,
of 5
No, because they haven't released
lot
5
team?
bots, like apart from Dinobots, they haven't released any others, and you said no to Dinobots. So
Definitely not Dinobots.
So Stunticons.
Nils Eriks. Zero Eriks.
What's made you say
Zero-
Stunticons?
Because they've only released 4 of them so far, but they're going to plan to release the 5th, aren't they?
True. I think Jamie may be warm.
So if you share a picture of X
Warmer, he's got
you share a picture of X Transbots, I'm walking out. You did it last time. You said Fanstoys. You shared X
only
Transbots.
As long as you
One
walk out
extra
faster than you put
opportunity with
Unicron
Fanstoys.
together.
Yep.
So where would you see these chaps? Bearing in
What,
mind they're
Nils Eriks?
gold. They are gold. They're
Prison?
really good. No.
Oh,
What's the
right.
premier place you would see them in America? On stage?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. And what's it called? Where all the hotels are? It's called the
The Strip.
Yep. What
Drag
else was
strip.
that?
Drags.
Ooh. Whoa.
Wow.
It was.
Smoky.
It was smoky.
Yeah.
God, you were good to get that. I feel like
More
this bit of
Fanstoys
art, like,
gold.
it's like if you just got QI, the show with Stephen Fry, and bundled it up into 5 minutes. That's what Fanstoys Innuendo is.
No.
That's
maybe
exactly
better.
what it is.
I
That's
think if
exactly
Stephen
what it is.
Fry saw this, he'd beat you and put you into a bag and throw you off a bridge into a river. I think that's what Stephen
Fry
Fry would do.
wouldn't do that.
I think he would if he saw this. I think he would do that. To be honest, you could have chosen DX9 because they actually called theirs drag strip, but no, this is Smokey.
It's because it's Fanstoys.
Is DX9 by Fanstoys?
But they didn't do a drag strip.
Do we need to explain this to you
every
again,
week? You
Alexis?
say something that's not going to be Fanstoys every week. It's Fanstoys.
Apart from that 1 week, it wasn't.
You could have got.
But it was.
You could have got Power of the Pipes Predaking by Hasbro. There's 5 of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I want to do a few, and each week's gonna be just gonna be CJ face.
Why are you all trying to steal Paul's thunder?
Every week, CJ Face.
Every week.
Yeah.
Fans,
Now let's have a look at Toy of the Week. It's just
Just,
CJ Face.
just a
Right,
random
with 4 hours
random
into the
week.
show, it's now time
Let's
for
go, let's go.
pickups. Right, go on, Alexis. Go first.
I got a second.
Start unboxing a second Unicron.
Oh, don't you dare.
No, I didn't bother.
Jamie
You
will go
ordered 2 by
apoplectic.
mistake, so you're going
No, I
to
didn't
sell
bother.
it.
Didn't bother.
For $3
I
grand.
actually, I was just considering just selling this thing on actually, but I'm actually quite attached to it. It's actually quite good. It's actually not bad. I got a second.
She may be difficult to put it back in the box.
No, that's easy. Just
I've got to say, Alexis, if I spent £600 on a bot and the review I gave of it was, it's not bad. I'd probably be a bit gutted.
it's very good. I like
It's
it.
that
Give it
background
time,
knowledge,
you'll
you can
love
sell
it.
it for like over a grand. Makes it fine.
So I got a second Springer. So I got two Springers now. I got two of these now. So I pick up the second one boxed, which is pretty good. I also got from the same gentleman. I got.
Is that for your customs 330 Sandstorm?
No, so I'm going to sell the Sandstorm. So if anyone's interested in the Sandstorm, they can take off me if they want. But the 2 of those are going to be the Autobot twins, the clones.
Yes, he's mentioned this before for his customers.
So I got Spin Out Omnigonics, which has been riddled and crucified for having issues, tolerance issues, and it just fell apart. This one's okay, apparently. I got it for like 20 quid. So it's amazing. Like, it's something that falls apart all the time, right? And it still retails for like 60 odd quid. Managed to get it for like 25, I think, 20 quid. I don't know. I'm sort of putting all my bots together really. So, so I saw someone do a while back. If you remember, we started showing customers Corner for a few weeks. The Runabout, Run Amok MP versions. They made them out of this mold here. So I got the Sunstreaker, and it might be a little bit complicated to do the Sunstreaker in that mode, but this one's a little bit more simple, so it's a bit easier to take apart and put together again. So if I can get a second one of these, then hopefully that. So if anyone's looking for a Sunstreaker, then let me know. And then I've never seen this before, so it's called Catoys, and it's nicely boxed. It's in a nice polyester, and it is a Legends. Wait for it. I've never seen this before. It's quite interesting, actually. A Legends, Star Saber, and Star Saber. Do it again. Star Saber and Victory Leo Legend scale, which are pretty good. So they're all right. Articulation's not amazing, but Legends always aren't. But you got like a Legends scale, Star Saber and Victory Leo, which transform, which are pretty cool. So I thought, that's all right. So I've never seen one of those. I thought, so they're okay. I never seen them before. Did review. I thought, impulse buy. The guy had them for sale. I thought, I think they were like 25 quid. So I don't think they combine. I thought, nice little representations if you want a Legend scale there. So I'll keep them for a little bit and probably send them to Faraday.
Possibly.
This is the way.
Yes, this is the way. I also got this guy. Whoever
Nice.
this is again.
Gigawatt.
Which I haven't opened. I'm actually quite excited because this is a new bot for me. I know it's a remold, but it's quite exciting in that front. And then I also got an Air Razor as well. And then what I'll do is I'll share the photograph of you, Paul. But for our viewers, when they see this as well, you can see the photograph of Air Razor. I put it next to my MP Beast Wars. So I thought birds are quite small, and it looks quite good. And as you can see, apart from the join in the wings, it looks, there's no other marks in it. So if you tuck the wings in behind, it looks as good as the MPs almost. I felt And again, for like 15, 20 quid, I thought it was really good. But again, I like it with the wings out. So again, it's not a bad little representation to go in with the other Beast Wars MP bots, I felt. So, but yeah, that's me.
Awesome sauce. Thank you very much. I'll go next. Spotlight. So I picked up just one Transformer today. It was a Hasbro. It was a Huffer. And I've got to admit, I'm a bit of a huff with Huffer because it's such a good alt mode. Such a good robot mode. Really, really good. Really, really strong. But his alt mode is wank. Absolute garbage. It starts off really well. So these legs, you can probably see my mouse. They don't. The wheels don't even line up. So these are really indented. These aren't. They hide the back quite cunningly because if you look at it from there, it looks awesome. If you look at it from the back, it's not good. It's got both his hands in that classic cup. If you've got Tyson's Return cup, how his arms go up and go up like that. But on Huffer, his arms are black. They really stand out. And whereas the piping silver. So that's one of my cardinal sins for Transformer, to show something which is like limbs or organic in its alt mode is poor. So I was really pissed off actually in the end because it was so good in its robot mode. That's what annoyed me the most. The gun is brilliant. Like the accessories are so spot on. It got me more excited because I thought this clawy bit, the shield, actually becomes a really good back part of the transformation. But just this doesn't cover up any of the hands. Transformation's okay. It's nothing too. Actually, for Hasbro, it's quite good. How the wheels are sort of in the body and they come out. That's a cool bit. The rest of it isn't cool. So that was a big disappointment, mainly because he looks good. He is good in. If you like action figures, he's a great action figure of Huffer. He's not a great alt mode. And yeah, so that was my pickup. And he's back in box. He's already been sold, and he's off to go to someone else already. So I kind of feel like I burnt my hands dipping back into Hasbro. And yes, they've lost a bit of the faith in me because they can do. That's the thing. They can be brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you look at some little things that they just had to change to make a Transformer good, so that someone who doesn't even collect Hasbro would go, "Oh yeah, I'll pick them up." You pick it up and you go, "Oh, why have you done that?" There's no reason to do it. So I was annoyed, and it'll probably be a while before I pick up another Hasbro. But fuck you, Hasbro. Right, who wants to go next?
I was gonna say, I remember you saying before about hands. Remember, there's some planes which you've nominated before, and you said like the hands stick out, and helicopters too.
Yeah, Vortex
and,
from Combiner
Wars, Vortex,
yeah.
with his arms just nice.
And he's exactly the same. Great alt mode, great robot mode. Vortex. Vortex probably not as bad as the Sin. Huffer's probably the worst I've seen recently in terms of Hasbro, in terms of showing their limbs. You've got Vortex. If you look at underneath, you can see the hands, I think, or from the back. So if you're looking at, if you held it in your hand, Vortex, you wouldn't see the hands. If you had Huffer and you just turned it around, you'd see the hands straight away. He's just got two hands going like that. If you held Cup up and how his hands are, you wouldn't really see it because it's the same color, so it blends in. Whereas Huffer, the hands are black and his pipes are completely silver, so it contrasts too heavily.
It's a shame.
It's just annoying because it would be such a good robot if they done some simple things, which they've done before. They've covered hands up. They've got wheels to pop out to line up. These are things that Hasbro does do. They just chose not to do it this time. And it's if the robot mode was not great, you wouldn't mind that much. You'd think actually it's a 16, 17 pound Transformer. Not bothered, but they had the chance to do a really good one. And when I got out, I was texting saying, "Oh, this is an awesome Transformer." And then I transformed him. Thought, fuck, I feel really let down. And when you compare it to, I mean, when you look at the G1, that's always a good thing, isn't it? Compare it to the G1. How's it look? Well, the G1 actually in its alt mode, the hands, you can't see them because they're part of the pipes, and they could have done something that would have been the minimum expectation. They've done something worse than that. The Magic Square one is probably more G1 accurate in terms of its cartoon look in its robot mode. I would say the Kingdom one beats it, but when you go to the alt mode, there's just no comparison. the alt mode in the Magic Square one is moles better than what they've done with them. But that's just my opinion. I would encourage you to buy a Huffer yourself. And if you can live with the hands, if that's not a bad thing for you, then he might be worth picking up for, just because he's got such a brilliant robot mode and excellent accessories. Like the gun has got details on it, and the shield, which turns into the backpack, is equally as good. Go, right.
I thought that was the hand when you shared the box art. I thought that was the hand. I thought that's why you put the big hands.
They do that on the box art, and on
it looked like a big hand, like Fisto from He-Man.
So the photo I've got of him, I've got used as a shield, but yeah, it does look like a big grapple hand. Right, who would like to go next?
Next, Andy, I don't mind.
I'll go if you want. If Jamie's got, if you've got some photos to share, you go last.
I've only got 4 photos to share. I didn't take many.
It's more photos than I've got, Jamie.
We'll go for Jamie.
Oh no, all right, then Jamie go.
Okay. What I got this week, my pre-order started to come from In Demand Toys, so thank you, In Demand Toys. I got another eraser, so I can have it like in animal mode. I like to have Transformers, some of them in the robot modes and animal modes. So they've got like a beast mode. I quite like that. I've got another Scourge. I've got another Grimlock In Demand, which I pre-ordered way back. And I got another Hot Rod, which is one of my favourite bots of the decade. What I also got this week is some guys I haven't actually had before. So I was quite happy with that. I'm just going to share some photos quick. Share screen, advanced. You know, so I got the sort of next wave, Dinobot, Inferno, Huffer, and Ragnarite, Cheetah, Sparky Boy, whatever his name is, and the sort of Quintesson drone, and Deep Cover, or the Sparkless one, I've forgotten its actual name. As Paul was saying, like with Huffer, with all those bots, they're just fantastic to look at in their robot modes. And there's the Netflix special next wave or special editions which were coming out, Netflix exclusives. In Demand managed to get some import stock in, so I snapped up as quick as I could. Sadly, you had to buy all 4 together. Lucky enough, I was probably going to buy all 4 anyhow, so it didn't bother me too much. The only one I wasn't too keen on getting again was Deep Cover, because I've already got the Deep Cover Selects version, but this one's got a different colour chest. He's got a blue chest. And to be honest, once I had him in hand, I was actually really quite pleased with him. Actually, I quite like him the best. There's the sort of bots just standing together. All deluxe size, and well, the Ironhide copy, which is the Quintesson drone, army drone or clone. And there's Inferno, Dinobot, Ragnarite, and Huffer. So stop sharing there. So my favourite Inferno, you know, the kid I owned this original G1 toy, de facto Wrecker, some might say. Intelligent, handsome people would definitely call him a wrecker. A lot of people might complain, but you know, when I remember in the comics and you've seen him there, he was always helping out the wreckers. They never introduced himself as the wreckers and Inferno, you know. So, you know, he was there, he suffered the pain, he did the heroics, he took out shitloads of Decepticons, he died a hero. So, if anything, he's a wrecker, in my opinion.
Did he die?
Yeah,
When did he die?
in the comic books.
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler, thanks.
I mean, it was from about 1986, but okay.
Oh, the original. I need to
Yeah.
reread those ones properly. So
With Huffer, I didn't really notice that. I mean, to me, I'm a sort of chug collector more, so I'm more forgiving when I see the hands. And to be honest, it's like a paper cut, as I was saying to Paul. I didn't really notice until he pointed it out. And I still like the innovations. I like how the gun splits in half and it almost helps to make the back of the truck. So I like all those touches. Yeah, I think what they could have done was maybe have the hands disappear into themselves. They could have done that. Or they could have had something like another shield, something for the back of the truck, and just have it placed over the hands like they do for Cliffjumper and Bumblebee. You know, they could have did something a little bit more plastic, but that might have increased the price. I'm not sure. Are they? Is it what's restraining them now? Is not their ingenuity, but actually how much plastic they've got to work with and sticking within a price range. Because as I said before, they're like mini masterpieces. They're getting there and they're pushing the boat out. Would Huffer have been better as a Studio Series Deluxe? I mean, yeah, Deluxe. Would they have got that extra bit of shielding or the hands flipping in? You know, would that have made a difference? So I'm beginning to think that sometimes our expectations might have to be realistic as well, or match what they have to work with. It's like I think Paul made an excellent point, was that Hasbro's competing against, you know, lots of different third and fourth party companies out there who are making designs, and sometimes we making the same mold and mold again. But Hasbro's making so many different types of Transformers for all different types of ranges.
You're right, and a bit of it is they've done so well with the robot mode. Like it beats one of my favorite Transformers ever, Magic Square Huffer. It's a better incarnation, not only of Huffer, it's a better incarnation of one of my favorite Transformers, and that's why it's so disappointing to get to that alt mode, because you're like, fuck, that's awesome, and then you get through to that and you think, oh, that's not awesome.
This CJ
It's
face
right.
again a little bit.
No, it's not
because of your love for the character, that you like when there's a flaw in it.
No, it's definitely not, because CJ face, I love the G1, and that's what let me down, because in my personal opinion, it was a massive step backwards, and it was much worse, in my opinion, than the G1. This is better than the G1. The alt mode lets it down. The robot mode smashes CJ face. If you pair them together, this looks like a masterpiece Transformer. The CJ face looks like a chug, a cheaper Transformer. This looks like the real deal. And what you say about mini masterpiece is so close to being like, if it transformed lovely, and it's not a complicated Transformer, and that's probably what annoys me. It's not like it is like CJ face's triple changer. It's not. It's just a dual changer, and it's a simple legs down, put your legs back, tuck your arms in, and you're a truck. And because it's so good in that mode, that's where the disappointment comes from. Rather than it being compared to a G1, it's just got a great alt mode. CJ face had a decent-ish, if you like, chug robot mode. This has got a really, really good alt robot mode. One of the best ones I've had.
That's what they do though. They've sacrificed a lot of the alt modes this time around, and a lot of bots to give you that almost perfect bot mode, because they anticipate most people will be displaying their figures and playing with their figures in that mode. So they are again, because I know there's been minor criticisms on the hot rod alt mode, and it's not quite as slick as the Titan's Return, for example. So I think it's hard, but again, I don't know where the price point comes. You mentioned, Jamie, about obviously the manufacturing, and is it the plastic, is it the manufacturing? I don't know where the biggest price point is, and obviously what they have in the sacrifice, what they have in the they make a decision on. Do they make a decision on a piece of articulation versus a filler gap for an alt mode potentially? I don't know what it is. It'd be interesting to understand that a bit more. But again, as you said, they're making improvement, again, as certain areas come down and the engineering evolves, they are making vast leaps and bounds in comparison to where they were 3 or 4 years ago.
I mean, I look at Dinobot, for example. And Dinobot is just absolutely gorgeous looking in robot mode. You know, the head sculpt is brilliant. You know, I just think the detail, the texture is amazing. The robot, the Dinobot mode, yeah, the arms are a bit weird. There's a bit of stuff that doesn't look that brilliant, but you know, we're just getting so much better and better. And I do think, you know, they really are pushing the boat out. And maybe sometimes I think we're starting to expect too much, but that's not a bad thing, because to be honest, I thought Combiner Wars was amazing, and now these guys have came, and I would never have thought that possible. You know, and now you look, they make a lot of my Combiner Wars stuff look like junk, but I do see a lot of criticism of Hot Rod, and I think to myself, what? Hot Rod's amazing. You know, start thinking about a lot of the positives and what you could work about. Don't use the negatives to take away from what the positives are there, what's progressed and what they're trying to do. You know, Hasbro, don't look at it, listen to these people and then think that you've done the wrong thing and go back to making, you know, certain age groups. Think about us adult collectors to appreciate it. And
I agree.
Sparkly Spot kind of looks more like it's made out of wood to me. Like, you know,
Good effect.
Like the wooden effect, he needs a bit of polish. Cheetah, the Netflix version, different type of blue, darker blue. Yeah, he does look absolutely gorgeous. Ragnorite, the Fossil Lord. Yeah, it's a Fossil Lord. Oh, you either like it or you don't. Some people do. And then you've got the army drone from the Quintesson thing. So, will people be army building this when they get a chance on Netflix? Are we going to see people with 12 of these, or just 2, or not even 1? I don't know. Will it be the next big thing to go shortage and cause drama on Twitter and Facebook? But deep cover, absolutely brilliant, gorgeous bottom mode. The only thing this battle damage, why put it on the freaking windscreen of the car? It's like the worst place they could actually put it, so I think there'll be a lot of people, if they can, be rubbing that out. But they might have to be careful, because it looks like clear plastic again to me, and I'm not sure if it is, clear painted plastic. So that could crack, because it's definitely got another bit of plastic underneath there. So there's definitely a layer. So you don't be doing too much pressure into that if you're trying to rub it off. And yeah, Huffer, I absolutely love the little guy. As I said before, until Paul spoiled it for me, I didn't really notice the problem dance. So it's like, what have you done, Paul? It's like, you poisoned my mind. It's just like an evil ploy. But no, yeah. So that's me finished.
Is the Styracosaurus really called a fossil lord? Like basically a rock lord?
It's a fossilizer.
Yeah, it's a fossilizer, but it's a fossil lord.
It's a rock lord, basically.
Although amusingly, his name is Ractonite, which I think Theo made a joke about during the week. We did one of those, as if it was like a chat up line about really wanting to see your Ractonite, that kind of thing.
He's a Styracosaurus. He's a Styracosaurus, so that makes sense.
You and your dinosaurs, Alexis.
Right. Yeah. Andy.
Stick it in a quiz.
Let's go over to you,
From the crustaceous media.
Well, mine will be quite short. So all I got this week was I received another supposedly crap Transformer from Liam. And he managed to find and buy me a Cora Q Megatron. But this is a different one to the one I've seen before. I've seen the one that I think turned into a gun. And this one turns into a little car. And it's kind of cool, actually. I kind of like it. You'll be gutted. I haven't taken it out of the box yet. I'm trying to get it so you can see the robot mode a little bit on the picture, but I haven't got it out of the box yet. It's another one that my children have seen and they love the look of it, and it'll probably end up going to them. But I'd say it's quite nice. The car mode looks a bit like a Stunticon.
Show us the back.
Well, if you want to see the back of the box, you've got lots of
there
Japanese
you go.
writing,
That's what we came for.
That's what we came for. Slightly blurry Japanese writing. Do not eat this. I'm sure there's a full story behind all this. I have to say the artwork is quite nice. It's hard to tell because unfortunately the light's reflecting off. Can you see there's Lockdown, or at least somebody who looks like Lockdown up in this top corner. There's or is that Megatron? It could be Megatron. There's Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, and then there's somebody else I can't see properly because of the actual toy being in the way. But yeah, it's a nice little thing. It's a cute little thing. It probably cost him more money than it should have done. But if anybody does know about those particular figures and knows whether they're actually that sought after, then tell us, because I've never really, other than seeing one or two other people review them, I've never really seen them before. And then the only other thing I got, which Claire sorted out for me, was she made a T-shirt. Which I didn't know she was doing, and she's made some. We've got merch, as my kid said to me. We've got merch, which we're not selling, but I mean, maybe we could.
Not selling yet.
Yet. TF Nation, here we come.
That's it.
But it was just quite a nice
matching
surprise
underwear to follow.
Yeah, the thong. Alexis actually asked, "Is my photo on the back of it?" And it's not. But I thought when he was first asking, he said she should do a thong version, and at first I thought he was asking whether my photo was going to be on the thong, which I think everybody would want, wouldn't they? It just screams sex.
Screams sex.
It does indeed.
And that's it. They were my only pickups for this week.
Brilliant. Awesome. Right, now on to Rohan's Corner. Rohan.
Jamie,
Can't do it this week.
has he gone? Rohan.
Throw hand. Hello everyone, thank you for that, and welcome back to Rohan's Corner. And this week on Rohan's Corner, I'm going to be picking up on some of the elements that our esteemed guest colleague Arrowfire mentioned on his video a few weeks back. And he was talking all about Transformers toys and Transformers characters that we haven't seen very much of, that he'd like to see more of in the Transformers universe, specifically characters like Windblade, etc. And for me, I've been thinking about old Transformers characters from Transformers series in the past who I'd like to see come back into a new series, or ideally into a new series, and have a more prominent role or get more character development of that character. And the list is quite long. There's 15 characters in all, but these are sort of some of my favorite characters that didn't get explored enough. I'd be really interested to know which characters you'd like to see come back and have a more prominent role or get fleshed out more. And so here we go. Okay, so since there are so many great characters, I'm going to split this episode into 2 weeks. This week we'll focus on the Decepticons or the Predacons or other evil characters, and then next week I'll go through my characters who I'd like to bring back from the Autobots or Maximals or other good characters, as well as covering some of the non-Transformers characters which I think should be brought back as well. So my first character I'd like to bring back is Generation 1 Octane. And why do you say I want to bring back Octane? I really enjoyed the Octane character. For a first part, he's a triple changer, he's got 3 great modes, and then secondly, his character in the series being hunted down by Galvatron and defecting to the Autobots for protection and going out as sort of like a little bit of a bounty hunter, roaming for Energon. I think that was great, and I'd love to see a little bit more of him, possibly in a buddy role with someone like we did in Generation 1. Next up is Armada Tidal Wave. This big brute is one of those characters who doesn't have a lot of depth, mind you, but I really like the size and weight and real aggressive ability of Tidal Wave, and I'd like to see him being brought back into a series where he could be muscle or some sort of grunt for the Decepticons in the future, because he's just awesome. And again, you know, sort of a triple changer in a way, you know, 3 different modes, and that's very cool. And the fact that he was a ship, naval boats is pretty cool too. Next up we have Skybite from RID. What a great character this guy was. Hilarious, always bumbling, making jokes, and at the same time nobody getting him. It's ridiculous poetry, sometimes helping the good guys because he wasn't really sure where he was supposed to be playing. And yeah, it's just an overall fantastically funny character who I think we're missing in many of the series that we've had of recent times, especially Wolf of Cybertron definitely doesn't have that much humor in it, except for Red Alert maybe, and I think Skybite would be great for that. And again, another cool alt mode, which Flying Shark, hey, that was pretty sweet. My next choice is Beast Machines Tankor, and Tankor's character obviously delves into the history of Rhinox and what happened to him after Beast Wars. He turns into this, at the beginning, a very dumb drone who's just got one word in his vocabulary or 2, and then later in the series he becomes this maniacal kind of scheming evil character, and I really like that character. I think that character has depth. It had the connotations of being involved in Generation 1 storylines with Vector Sigma and such like, and I'd love to see some sort of element of Tankor or reminiscent of Tankor, maybe a descendant of him coming back into a series in the future, not to mention that really powerful cannon that he had on his tank drone mode, which was really cool. Next up we got Beast Wars Inferno, and this character I think is loved by quite a few people. The ant drone with the ant mentality. It was really smart of the Beast Wars scriptwriters to make this character behave the way he did, always saluting the royalty Megatron and doing as he said, very loyal, always getting blown up and using the fire cannon that he had to attack as well was pretty cool. It's different, and he always got scorched and burned, and it was just hilarious. And I'd love to see another character like Inferno coming back. Maybe they change the name, maybe they twist the aesthetics of him, because I don't really want to see an ant that size coming back. But you know, I'd like to see that sort of character again. And the last one for the evil guys on my list is a duo, and it is Beast Machines, Obsidian, and Striker. Now, these guys don't have to necessarily come back as bad guys. I'd love to see Beast Machines, Obsidian, and Striker come back either as the great generals that they were in the past for the Decepticons / Autobots, we're not entirely sure, or to come back as descendants of the Beast Machines kind of storyline, because I think they did them a disservice in Beast Machines. They were bigged up at the beginning as they're going to be these huge characters who can actually, you know, do a lot to take on the Maximals, and they didn't really achieve much. They were just as bad as the original Viacon drones, really. But I think that they had a great dynamic, the male-female camaraderie, and the fact that they were, you know, esteemed and highly thought of was really cool for me. Okay, so that was my list of the Decepticon characters I'd like to bring back and give a little bit more screen time to. What do you guys all think? Have you got any thoughts on Decepticon or evil characters you'd like to bring back? Let us know. Until next week, I've been Rohan. See you again on Rohan's Corner. Back to the studio.
Hey boys, we've been rumbled. Well, let's bounce.
Thank you, Rohan. Right, and to our final discussion for tonight, and it is the most unpopular, or your most unpopular Transformers opinion. Who would like to go first on this discussion? Go and give us an unpopular.
Do you want me to go first?
Yep.
So unpopular ones. There was one I was going to use, but somebody else has suggested it, so I might leave that so that if we get it from the actual, we put a post. That should be said. We should put a post on our Transformers The Show Facebook page and in TF UK just to see what people were saying, what people were thinking. One of the ones that I'm not going to do CJ face because I just, everybody knows that difference of opinion there, but it's the Optimus Prime thing. Everybody loves the classic Optimus Prime, so every time there's a G1 1984 style Optimus Prime released, everybody goes crazy for it. I don't. So one of my unpopular opinions, I think, is that I have always found and been kind of more drawn to Power Master Optimus Prime. To me, it's a more interesting version of him. In the comic books, I found him more interesting because he seemed more flawed in the comic books than the original Prime had done. And the toy was just a better toy. All round, it was a better toy. The fact the trailer became, you know, part of the big body, but you could also have a G1, an 84 style Optimus Prime. You could turn into a base, which admittedly was crap, but it was a base, and when you were a kid you didn't care about that, so you could play with it. So my unpopular opinion, or one of them, would be that Power Master Optimus Prime is superior to the original Optimus Prime, and we should have a new version of that. Hasbro, you get, build it.
Which I quite like the Titans Return one. It was okay, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that's the thing. It was okay, and this is why it's weird. I have, as I showed off the other week, the Netflix version of Optimus Prime, which is beautiful. I mean, the paint scheme, fantastic, and it is a great version, even though it's got lanky legs,
very long legs.
And yet, this week I was looking at it, and I had it alongside that Power Master Titans Return Optimus Prime, and I still preferred the Power Master version. I'm just kind of drawn to that figure more than I am to the original.
Maybe it's you mean toy, right? You're not talking. Are you talking? Because again, obviously, in the comic books, he
toy
was
and character.
Yeah, in the comic books, he was more powerful. Obviously, he was brought back.
He was
more powerful. He was meant to be. Obviously, he evolved into that form, right? So
yeah, he was supposed to be like super powerful, and I never thought they actually, even though he was supposed to be, I never thought they actually wrote him like that. To me, he kind of still was Prime, but he seemed more flawed and to have more doubts because he died before and come back. And I found that more interesting than the Prime we'd had before, who was just still a bit straight-laced. In fact, somebody put that as an opinion about him. I'm trying to remember what the comment was now. Something about how Optimus Prime
schoolboy who always hands his work in on time.
Yeah, like the goody two shoes.
But it's never
just
funny. Never tells
But
jokes.
he's Superman, right? In that genre, he's like when he's the Superman that obviously doesn't try. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. Doesn't want to do that. And uses his power only when needed. And he does die. And then
Prime did do that. He sacrificed the whole Earth just for the chance of Cybertron's men.
Yeah, I mean, but in comic, I'm talking about comic book Prime. Sorry, I guess in the cartoon, it's all over the place, isn't it? It's hard to actually make sense of the actual what goes on. But again,
you called him a dick in the cartoon. You went, that's not really nice.
He was a dick in the cartoon sometimes. I mean,
it's interesting because in the chat somebody had put Danny. I apologize. Danny Boy. Danny Boy. He put that he wasn't really an Optimus Prime fan at all. That he didn't like Optimus Prime, and he actually found him, to quote, a sanctimonious dick with very little actual personality. Don't hold back, Danny. Say what you think.
Netflix series, that's definitely true.
Have it, Danny.
But there is that element sometimes with the characterization of him because he is so one-dimensional, a bit like Superman. You know, I prefer the version of Superman where he actually seems more flawed and, you know, more human in that sense than just black and white, good guy, bad guy.
But when he comes back and when he dies, when Superman dies and comes back, he is that type of. He is a bit more, you know. He has got that line. He understands it and he does cross it a bit more.
That's what happened in the mid '80s with Optimus Prime. He died and they brought him back as Power after Optimus Prime, and he was better and more interesting.
So that kind of leads me to my unpopular Transformers opinion, which is I love Transformers. I love chatting to you guys. I love the gimmick of transforming something from one thing to another. But I would have to say Transformers has, by far and away, of all my interests, the poorest, worst and wankiest media, be it comics, cartoon or movie, of any genre that I can think of.
I mean, like the weakest
any
story?
Popular genre that I'm
I think, I agree, like, Paul. I think the supporting media isn't
There's a brilliant movie. The movie's amazing. I love the movie. Either side of the movie, it was awful. Some of the comics were good. Some of the IDW stuff was good. Some of the Dreamwave stuff was good, but so infrequent. And when you look at something with the amount of globalization that Transformers has, and you compare it to something like Star Wars, or you can compare it to something like Star Trek, or pretty much anything else with that sort of level of Marvel, DC. And when you look at the actual quality of the stories, it's probably the worst. I would say there's nothing as bad as Transformers in terms of story. And that's my unpopular opinion. I would welcome any challenges on that.
I agree, but I think that's a systemic system of the opportunities which are out there now, and I think the opportunities for writers are more for very privileged people or people whose parents were writers or educated, you know, at some university level.
So why would Star Trek or Star Wars be better?
Well, because when you're thinking about Star Trek and Star Wars, I think a lot of them are starting to suffer now with bad writing in comparison to what. Well, no. See, you've picked like one example out of hundreds of different examples out there. You know, when you compare, so it's not fair because the Mandalorian is kind of unique.
I'm into Transformers, Star Wars,
and Mandalorian was kind of like stood itself out there, you know, because it was non-conventional in the sense of Star Wars writing
in the 2000s than it was.
With Transformers, you have like is it Transformers Galaxies, which is quite well written, you know, and that's just one example where the comic is quite good, and even the Beast Wars is quite good. But then you got the other latest interpretations as well, which are just very
Just
poor.
Dread or 2000 AD.
More Than Meets the Eye was fantastic and award-winning. So I mean, there are nuggets of really good.
You see award-winning, but
you look at the globalization of Transformers and you compare the amount of these awesome spikes, which I agree with. They'll have award-winning things. How many are there when you look?
But what does awards mean? Isn't
awards just what we agree, which is great? Like we agree, Wreckers is good. More Than Meets the Eye is great.
I think they're held back somewhat because
Transformer media.
I think they're held back slightly because if you look at the sort of area it's in and where it started and where it's trying to appeal to, sometimes is I think they're always, no matter how far they push it, they always want to keep one foot in the safety zone. And I think if you compare it to like Star Wars and Star Trek, and and Marvel and DC. And I think, you know, there's the Zack Snyder cut, which has just come out, you know, a week ago, is a great example of that. And I watched that thinking it's going to be the same as the original one with a bit of extra stuff in it. And it was so much darker. There was no, you know, there's no brunch mentioned in it, if you know what brunch is, and if you watch the original one. And there's like, the comedy isn't there as much, but the drama is there, and it's like, and the ending, it's completely different, right? And it's a lot deeper. And I think if it's out there and did almost like a rewritten version for our area, for what we want, right, that sort of thing, and made almost an action movie in that sort of space, or some sort of almost like the 2000 AD sort of style, it might be a bit more credible. In I think that's potentially what you're saying, but it's always trying to keep its one foot in the Care Bear zone, and that's a challenge, right? It wants to hold on to that sort of lineage, because again, it wants to allow other people to make that jump. I don't know.
So when you look at the size of Transformers today, the amount of money behind it, and the billions and billions of the Bayverse movies, you would think that throwing a load of media, you would get a certain amount which would hit the spot and would be brilliant, just because of the scale of it, like you do with Star Wars. Like there was going to be a Star Wars Mandalorian would happen, because there's so many fucking Star Wars programs, but that you would get a Mandalorian at the end of it, because you get so much investment in it and so many good talented people.
But they're trying to sell
ratio
media
with Transformers isn't the same.
Do you not think it's something to do with? Go on, Alexis.
I think they're trying to sell media content. They're trying to sell. So what they're trying to push is the films or the graphic novels, or that's their bread and butter, right? Hasbro are trying, and if you get the Transformers, whatever it is, whatever media it is, it's trying to push the toy line. The toy line is where they make the money, right. not in the media.
Yeah,
it's never as big.
Its money from.
Alexis is right, because the difference between something like Star Wars, like you brought up Star Wars, and even Star Trek have had always, for many years, going all the way back, well, certainly from the 80s, and for Star Trek even before that, they've always had a big adult fan base, whereas Transformers, certainly Hasbro, I don't think realized that they were going to have this thing going on. So it always comes back to the toys and selling the toys to kids, and that, I think, holds it back sometimes with what they do in media.
Yeah, but
so they don't make it grown up as they can with Star Wars.
George Lucas,
Transformers media tanks when you compare it to anything else.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying the reasons behind that might be this.
Right,
although we're getting bogged down in one subject.
Yeah, but wasn't Lucasfilm's whole point was they made money out of the toys? He wanted to keep the rights to the toys.
That was his whole point. He asked for the rights. He didn't know it would be as big.
Originally, he didn't.
Yeah,
originally,
but the point was he made all the money, and that was in the 80s. So they kind of
didn't do that. It was in the 80s or the 70s.
No,
he asked for the rights to the toys.
So they made the money. So there was a precedent set. So they knew they could do that.
Yeah.
And he was living on the merchandise. So Hasbro, you know, anyone doing research would have known that, and to work from that. And I think the biggest problem with Transformers is, if anything, they're trying to be too niche, you know. And I think sometimes, I think with the characters, they've stopped allowing characters to. I think they need better. I think they just need better writers who want to write action and comic stuff.
Do you think they've been too niche with the media they're producing, or too niche with the robots? I think with the robots they're being overly niche, but with the content they're being, what you say, and I agree, not niche enough.
Yeah, I think it's. I think they're actually both niche. I think they're trying to be, you know, they're not allowing the characters to be characters anymore. The characters are having to represent something, or representing some bit of our own society, and I think as soon as you do that, you're restricting, and you're trying to tell the story that what these characters should be representing in our own society, rather than being an alien race, and enjoying the characters for who they are. And seeing their experiences in their lives, and getting a little bit of touches of how different they are, rather than being the objective of what the story should be about. And I think that's the trouble sometimes with the writers. They get caught into that trap. You know, maybe that's the focus. And because social media is so hyperventilated and so hyper aggressive, sometimes they feel that maybe they have to play to that, which is it's a sad thing, because those people with the larger voices and the larger opinions are probably a very small part of that, you know, fandom, who might not even support the community in that way, really financially, but they might just have the big voices online. And I think it's like you said, you know, Transformers should sometimes be more there and be more brave and have the action stories. Because when we had Transformers as kids, you had your Ladybird books, you had your comics, you had Marvel USA doing something different from Marvel UK, and just now I think they're trying to keep them all going in one direction, and I think sometimes that can suffer. But you look at the cartoons just now, you've got the Netflix stuff, which wasn't that great, but it was more aimed at adults, I guess. But you had the Cyberverse stuff aimed at the kids, and that's actually quite cool, you know. So they are going out there, they are doing stuff, and it's just not to what we like.
We've not seen, and maybe it's because we saw the film. The film was insanely good, like, and to have deaths and stuff in one thing kind of set the standard, and we've never felt anything's ever lived up to them, apart from the comics sometimes, and maybe a few stories. Right, go on, Jamie, carry on. What is your unpopular Transformers opinion?
My unpopular Transformers opinion was, I think it would start to become popular now, is that Pretenders are good, and Pretenders should be remade in deluxe Voyager size now, instead of the sort of small sort of like Legend size, or, you know, versions that we got, or core sizes they're getting called now. They should be made in big forms. You know, I think they could do so much more articulation wise, and they could do so much more with the robots as well. They wouldn't have to be the generic same. Of course, it would be still cool to pay homage to the original Pretenders. And I think I would eat them up personally. You know, I'd be like, oh, this is fantastic. And I do think the G1, I know for some reason, some people seem to think G1 seems to be Transformers Season 1. You know, the characters from there, maybe Season 2 at a push. And once the toy line started to stop, that's when G1 stopped. And no, not for me. You know,
it's Pretenders, Action Masters, Micro Masters, they're all
G1.
There's a snobbery sometimes. Snobbery might not be the right word, but there's some people who have the attitude that anything between 84 and 86 is Transformers, and everything afterwards was crap. And that's nonsense, you know.
Yeah, I agree, Andy. They're the same type of monsters who think Inferno's not a wrecker.
Yes, RJ.
We're talking to you.
Yeah.
Hi, RJ.
But please join our quiz team when we go to TSA.
But that was
you'll still be part of our quiz team.
That was my sweet and short.
You're not alone though, Jamie, because Andy Welch on the chat actually put the same thing about Pretenders, about the fact that they are cool and work. You know, the toys were cutting edge at the time, but now, you know, you could do a great version of Pretenders if they actually put the mind to it, and maybe they are. We don't know, because, you know, it takes years in production for the toys that are coming. But I'd love to see modern engineering done with Pretenders to actually try to maximize the potential of the idea, because the idea was cool. It's just that you saw the cartoon adverts and you saw the shells and everything. Oh, this is fantastic, and then you get them, and, you know, articulation in the arms, and that's it.
Well,
and the robots were all very generic
in age. And when we got into Transformers, we were kind of hitting our romp of the time when the movie came out, and then it spurred us on to even want more Transformers. And then you got the Micro Masters, the Action Masters came out, and that was our probably apogee of collecting Transformers as a kid. We were 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, where the ones beforehand probably had their romp over when they were 5 or stuff, was when Optimus Prime came out. So they were probably born in like 76, 75, 74. That would have made sense for them. So that end of G1 for us, the Micro Masters, the Pretenders and everything, that to me, that was the swan song of G1. It was the last bit, the last stand of G1. I enjoyed it. And then fucking G2 turned up, which was silver bolt painted blue with orange bits. What the fuck is this in Woolworths for $2.99?
Somebody did make the point. I've noticed it even in the conversation we've been having. Somebody said about how basically the Transformers relies too much on G1 and it's getting boring now. And do we need to like start looking at other areas of Transformers that were popular to a person of that age?
You need to finish G1
for it. Well, this is it. You know, the flip side of it is that G1 still sells. So what do? If you're Hasbro, do you drop, like, it's like saying to, you know, Star Wars saying, right, well, we'll get rid of Luke and Han and Chewie and Darth Vader and everyone, because there's, you know, some new characters that we created for other series later on. So we'll just
three-wave format they started with a new format of G1, which was the IDW comments. comics with Tyson's Return and Power of the Primes. Power of the was it Power of the Primes trilogy?
So Power of the Primes
Titans Return comic. They didn't do. I don't think Power of the Primes.
Power of the Primes,
and
Titans Return, and Titans Return is meant to actually follow on. It's meant to be in the future of the Transformers lineage, isn't it? It's meant to be, obviously because Rodimus is still there. There's almost like a galactic council. Megatron and Optimus have been banished from civilization due to their violent nature, and it's like, I mean, they try to do this because I guess what you compare it to Star Wars, right? And I guess what Star Wars have done is it's such a big universe that there's such a diversity of characters which are generally popular, and they latch on to some of the lesser characters which are popular culture,
Penguin?
pop culture, like Boba Fett or like certain bounty holders or the Mandalorian, for example. They've put themselves a little bit out there, and if you look at like behind me, DJD as an example, is a sort of a new area which is popular. You look at the sort of the history, the religion of Decepticonism or mythology, whatever you want to call it, right? The heritage, it's spun out from that, and it actually got quite popular. You look at other areas of that. They haven't wanted to do that. They always go back to the G1 because they know. And again, it's what happens. It's the fucking toys, and it sells, and no matter what happens, right? It's always going to go back to G1. So my thing is, I'm done with G1. I want new, right?
I agree.
Which ties in with what we've just said, doesn't it?
T-shirt, got everything else, right?
It's
all right.
Fries
and
hit the limit.
You guys, I know a lot of people get excited around all these new releases. Like, MPs did it a few years ago, and it's like,
that's the point. You're a masterpiece collector, you prick.
Owners
are just
getting
calling. They're just getting the good stuff now, and you want to take it away from us. Fuck you.
I had MPs did it right. Legends did it, and after that, and it's like the goal. It's like it's too big, it's too small, and then like it's just right.
After we get our photo bots and pretenders.
Unpopular fan opinion.
It's I mean,
fanboy
things like this, revolutionary, right? But a lot of the things which are out there are just it's like I mean, it's the same with
and I would have to put Jamie in that bracket.
Springers.
Militant.
There's four Springers.
I used to be there. I used to be one of you. I used to be Hasbro fanboy.
Again, there's like,
I would defend
how many versions of the Prime are there?
I'm not militant.
You are borderline.
So
he's angry. He's not militant.
I'm mute. Just checking.
You're not people's judicial front. You're the people's front of Judea.
But there's other things that people have put on the.
What do our viewers think? Go on, Andy. Read them out.
Mick Holohan said, we'll try to get through these quickly, so try not to go on a 20-minute diatribe about this. Mick Holohan said, parts forming is fine, and those who say not are whingers. Parts forming. Does it bother any of you?
I like
not
parts
anymore.
forming.
You used to. Not anymore.
The classic, of course. Peter Rees, the Bayformers was good. It really... Bayformers really wasn't good. I thought he was trying to make the point that it was, but he's actually worded it in a way that awesome. he really didn't think it was good. Some people did say that they actually thought the Bayverse was better than it gets credit for.
First film was good.
And the thing is, if you go back and watch Transformers the movie, we watch it and we have a huge emotional connection to it, so we love it. But if you didn't have that emotional connection to it, is it as good as we think it is, or is that emotional connection what clouds our judgment on a little bit? Jamie, you're pulling your face, but don't forget that is like...
It's getting too real, Andy. I'm sorry.
Totally agree.
Jamie, it's great. Everybody loves it.
Totally agree. So I asked my little boy about like which version of like... So my little boy loves Pink, right? So I said, which version of RC do you want? And he picked Cyberverse. So I showed him like 3 different versions of RC which are out at the moment, and this is obviously when the
Hasbro cool that your son's into and just say what you think about what Andy said.
And he no, but what I mean is
he's getting to a point. Let him get to the point. Let's see where it
goes.
No,
but it's like we were talking. It's like saying like obviously are the toys now better, and it's like are we drawn into the G1 thing, and everyone's liking the latest toy.
Bayverse.
No, but it's the same as Bayverse. It's like we didn't like Bayverse because they weren't what we liked them to be, and maybe the Titans Return toys weren't the same as what we liked them to be, but maybe they were better toys in some parts. And are they worse toys than they are now? No, they're just different engineered toys. If you talk to someone who didn't know Transformers, which one's better?
Loads of stuff which has nothing to do with what you said.
I think he is trying to make a point. He's making a point that the Bayformers we don't like as much because we think we do look. Be honest, who looked at those first images released for the 2007 film and went, "That's not my Optimus Prime. That's not my Megatron. What have you done to them?" And it's that connection that we have to the original characters.
I got excited about it. I thought
got lips. They had lips.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to me. You got
lips.
Oh, the faceplate
evolved over millions of years. Yeah, that somebody actually put. Oh, I apologize to who it was. I'll find the comment. But somebody actually put as their unpopular opinion that no Optimus Prime should ever be without a faceplate. It's wrong to not have a faceplate. And I have to say, I find it difficult to accept. The only one I've ever kind of accepted was the Transformers Prime cartoon version of him. But even then, it was more because it was a stylized animation for his face. You know, they turned it into the battle mask that comes across like in the movie. And of course, that cartoon came out around the same time as the first movie. So there was probably a little bit of, oh, they're doing this in the movie, we should do this in the cartoon. So that was one of them.
I agree. The only Optimus Prime that should have a face is the one that is in your bedroom.
And we're going to just gloss over that and move on. Gav Morton has said Decepticons are way cooler than Autobots. I repeat again, Gav Morton has said Decepticons are way cooler than Autobots. Discuss.
Dinobots. Booyakaka.
Is that it? Is that all you've got is Dinobots?
Oversized Dinobots.
The rest are all just cars.
Because
Cosmos, don't bring him up as somebody cool when we were mocking him.
Scourge is so cool, right? Scourge is so cool.
Hot Rod.
Yeah.
But you see, even Hot Rod, who you would kind of think should be in that bracket of, oh, what a cool futuristic car, as it was at the time. And yet he was derided because of what moment? That again, which came up so many people saying Hot Rod didn't do anything wrong in Transformers the movie.
Prime's aid.
I do think Hot Rod gets a hard deal, really, considering that
I loved
it was written in the script.
It was all the bit with him. If you watch the extended cut of him, if you watch the bit which wasn't properly animated, the extended cut of him actually going up, he took out about 4 Decepticons before he got to Prime. You can in the animation.
He just ran past them.
No. If you watch the extended cut, I think he head dumps one of them. Like I think it's like Dirge or Amjet. He actually takes out 4 Decepticons.
You mean when they had the little storyboards and they put them into that section of the film?
It wasn't obviously it wasn't animated properly, but they actually had the storyboards.
Here's a controversial one which isn't there. Transformers the movie. Well, it's kind of there. I saw it. Transformers the movie isn't canon.
Isn't what?
I didn't see that one. Who said that one?
Isn't what?
Isn't canon? Canon part of the actual real story of Transformers. So you could have something that was a piece of media about Transformers, and then say it's not canon, it's not real. So in that story, you could have Optimus Prime.
We can evolve, we can move,
explode or something, and it doesn't matter. He'll still come back because
when they do the Justice League
animation errors don't count as lore.
That's
what I think. Is this the fandom I want to be in? Animation errors don't count.
I've got one.
Have I got too deep now in Transformers?
Here's one that you might appreciate.
Don't actually care about that shit.
Here's one you might appreciate. Stuart Hawkins said, "Figures with too many repro labels look like crap." Now, here's the thing: I've seen some repro labeled up toy figures, and actually have thought to myself, that looks too busy now. There's just too much going on.
Isn't there over 12,000 stickers you have to put on Fort Max, isn't there, to get them up and running? And I know there's repo labels as well that you can add to that.
Yeah, so, Triptychon, was it 78, something like that?
Have you not seen the sticker pack that comes with this guy?
I've never put sticker packs on.
Do you not think that actually becomes a chore, especially when they're so ridiculously small that you need some kind of specialized tweezers to be able to put them on accurately? Otherwise, what's the point?
That's it. Get my cock tweezers. I'm in business.
Get the makers go right and a straw.
Sorry, what were you saying, Paul?
Oh, Thunderbird 2 took me about 6 hours on Christmas Eve to do, to get ready for my son. That was about 3 years ago. You think Thunderbird 2 is that big green thing, isn't it?
What stickers does that need?
Fucking loads, about 60. Do hours doing that. Right, come on.
Every time you look at it, you know which one's wonky.
Alexis,
I was going to say,
Jamie,
I was going to say one last thing.
Unpopular opinions.
Charge in C minor wasn't that bad animation.
Carnage in C minor.
Carnage and C minor, yeah.
Carnage. Oh yeah, sorry.
Use a
Carnage in C
charge.
minor. Charge. Sorry, I was young. I didn't read properly.
I don't know
Carnage
if
in
it's
C minor wasn't as that bad animation.
Is it the animation or the fact that it was a terrible story? Because the whole thing was. Oh, go on then. I'll chuck out. Based on what you're saying, I'll chuck out an unpopular opinion of mine. When you actually watch the G1 cartoon back after season 1, they go massively downhill. And I know people say, "Oh yeah, but the stories are so much more interesting. And they go off and do this and that and the other." Especially in season 3, most of the stories are stupid. They don't make sense at all. The animation errors are just make it almost unwatchable at times. There's bits where you just like, oh my god, I don't remember this being this crap. And that's the point where, as a UK fan, most of us only really got season 1. You know, for a lot of us UK fans, you didn't see seasons 2 and 3 and even the Rebirth. The Rebirth I had on VHS, so that's different.
VHS was the way you got it.
You didn't see them.
Season 1 was split up as well into like 4-minute chunks on Manix Manic.
Whack-a-day.
Yeah, Whack-a-day.
And we just got to see a little bit of it. We were like, oh, fuck,
and if you missed an episode, you were screwed. Especially if it was the last episode of the whole lot. You're like, how's it going to finish?
Didn't they spread one episode over the whole week?
Yeah, exactly. That's how they did it. Yeah, so that you'd come back every week and watch 4 minutes of it.
What was the one that was set up in comparison to Sky Satellite? Was it B Sky or something? Or was it B Sky?
Yeah,
and then they dropped
Sky as well. I remember watching Transformers.
Yeah, because they were doing. They did season 3.
Sky 1.
Watching season 3.
That's
those of us who are working class, Jamie, didn't have access to Sky or any kind of
because someone figured out that in high-rise flats that you could pick up the Sky stuff just for your actual satellite, for the actual antennae, and so they actually had to go out their way to reconfigure the antennae so you wouldn't pick up those stations. So for a while, the working class people, poor people, got to live like other people and got to see all these cool channels.
I wish somebody had told me that.
That's how I watched. That's how
you just bought it. You just paid £100 and you got Sky. And that was it. There's no subscription. You just bought Sky. I remember we got it. We were one of the first people to get it. And it came in. They put the satellite dish on, the receiver in. And that was it. You had Sky.
My uncle did that. He wouldn't. Dad wouldn't buy Sky. So my uncle did it. And so the first time I saw Transformers movie, I didn't know about it. Right. At the time, I didn't know it was in cinema. I was quite young. Parents didn't take me to cinema at that time. And then I think I was 4.5, 5. It came out 5. I was 5. And then it came out the year after on Sky. And then my uncle said, "Oh, he's record this Transformers thing. Yeah, it's Transformers. He's record this." I put it on. I was going, "Oh my god, what the fuck is that? It's amazing." I was like, "Dad."
Were you in pain?
No. It's my mate. I was like trying to breathe at the same time. So, but I had this. Hey, Lucas.
Hey, Lucas.
Hey, Lucas. How are you?
That's Alexis.
Hi.
Hi, Lucas.
Hi, Lucas.
How are you, buddy?
Good.
Lucas, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that Ultra Magnus was actually a very good leader in the original Transformers movie, and that he gets a harsh reputation because he got blown up during part of it?
CJ face is rubbish.
He's getting you to say lies. He's getting you to say lies, Lucas. Tell him he's wrong.
You're wrong.
Who's your favorite? Lucas.
Lucas for the win.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite Transformer, Lucas?
Hot Rod.
Bubby and Optimus Prime and Mom and Hot Rod.
Yeah.
And Hot Rod. Wow. who would win if they were both going to shoot Megatron? Who would shoot him first, Prime or Megatron? Sorry, Prime or Rod or Hot Rod. Sorry. Who would shoot Megatron first?
I think Prime, because Prime used to be the leader, but Prime it wasn't long to that. I think it took quite a long time to the movie came out when Prime was not the leader anymore.
Remember the microphone laws.
Don't interrupt him.
I think at Prime will win.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. I think we've got Alexis' replacement here, Paul.
I was going to say, Lucas, you made that point much more succinctly than some members of our group.
You say goodnight.
Good night.
Night, Lucas.
Good
I
night,
am
See
not.
ya.
I am not militant.
Jamie's wrong.
The Ultra Magnus point, by the way, was brought up by you and Cam that he felt Ultra Magnus got really harsh deal, considering actually he helped to protect Autobot City, managed to get them away from Galvatron and the sweeps and everything. Sacrificed himself so that all the others could survive, and then he seems to get it in the neck because he wasn't supposed to be the one to have the Matrix. But that's hardly his fault, is it? Really?
No.
If it's destiny and all the rest of it.
I've always liked Ultra Magnus, and I think the one thing if season 3 of the cartoon did do right was they had a sort of respect between Ultra Magnus and Cyclonus, almost the counterparts of each other, but they respect each other's honor and bravery.
I like the fact that Ultra Magnus used to advise Rodimus Prime. That Rodimus Prime lent on him a lot for kind of to be that one to kind of keep him grounded and give him that bit of advice when he was doubting himself, which, let's be honest, with Rodimus Prime, he was doubting himself a lot in season 3.
Just to finish off, what I was saying was I had this VHS of the movie for like 10, 15 years, and I used to like keep it in there like a plastic case because, again, I didn't know you could buy the movie. It's before the DVD came out, and all I had was this like chewed up copy of the VHS because I used to watch it over and over and over and over and over and over. So that the intro was like, all scratchy when you used to get a VHS. So I used to cut in where you go from cutting. It's like almost like cinematic where you cut in like in the neck, and he cuts in. And to your point, Andy, as well about season 2 getting worse. I concur. It's like when you're younger and you watch a porno and you're not sure about and you think, this is really
how
good.
How much
right?
Younger?
And
think about what you say.
No, section 5 about then as well.
When you're 18 and you watch it right, and you go
back, that young.
Oh, shut up, right? And you think, oh, this is really good, right? And then someone asks you about that, and you go, oh yeah, the storyline was it's really good, it's really interesting. Go, why is it interesting? Well, because people have sex, and that's it. It's like, why was it interesting? It's like because they were transformed.
Did you make it more than 2 minutes into a porno?
Storyline. Whoever says, "Oh yeah, the storyline was great."
Exactly.
The acting was fantastic.
Because season 2, the storyline wasn't great. The acting was okay, but it was more interesting. Why was it interesting? Because there was more characters, and let's face it, with a porno, more characters means more fun.
I can't help but feel you just wanted to talk about that particular subject, not even the Transformers related.
Well, you just wanted to talk about your orgy fetish.
Oh dear me. Somebody's asked, Paddy, in fact it was, Paddy's said, why are Legends now so cool? He's tempted to get, he wants a Galvatron shelf because Newage have about 15 versions of Galvatron. Legends have come out of nowhere, to me at least. I'd never really even heard of Legends Transformers till a couple of years ago, and now it does seem to be a lot of people are selling up their, for example, Masterpiece collections and switching over to Legends.
Space. It's space. Everyone wants so much, right? And
is it just space, or is cost involved?
It costs as well. I mean, you can. So the older Legends characters aren't that great. So they don't have ankle rockers. The older ones, older Iron Factory, they're rarer, but they're not as good. They're not that great, but the newer ones are getting better. But I would still say that the quality of Chug is still better. It's the fact that they're smaller. But isn't core class smaller than the Legends class, or is it? No.
Well, I would say I think the thing is with Legend class, from watching you and Paul, there's a big discrepancy in size of Legend class. So there's definitely going to be Legend characters the same size as Core, bigger or smaller. Core is quite static.
But they are fun. They're almost like, as Paul always calls them, micromasters, right? Or Matchbox cards. You can put one in your pocket. It's quite cool. You can have these things lying around. I mean, I've got the little purple Shockwave because my little boy loves it so much, right? I think he's going to be nicking it. I often come into the room. He's like, I can see things in different places, and I'm going, how did that get there?
So obviously, you need to get a new wooden bird.
We need a bigger bird.
Love that. Arrowfire, he asked, why do people have multiple copies of the same toy? So he's talking more, I think, about having a robot mode and then having another copy so you can have it in the vehicle mode, which obviously if you have triple changes, you need 3 of them then. So
no, it's not.
Why do it? Jamie, do you?
The reason I do it is a couple actual reasons. One thing, I like the robot modes. And I also like the animal modes, and so I like to display both. It's also like with combiners, some people like the combined form, like Devastator, so I'm not so interested in the individual robot modes. But when it comes to something like the aerial bots, I like both. I like Superior and I like the individual bots. So I want to have them both displayed. And if I've got the space and it's my collection and it gives me joy, that's what I'm going to do. And there's another reason as well, is because sometimes with the Transformers with Chug, there might be an issue. There might be something that can break easily. So I don't really want to take that risk. So I would rather, especially when I like to take my photos, transform the one, keep it there so it's easier when I do other photo shoots to have that bot come in. But another major reason is, for me, I've got hypertensive fingers, and I've also, because of rowing I used to do, and I did ice hockey as well and stuff, but rowing was my major sport, you know, and the fact I'm a left-hander who was brought up to use my right hand to write with, so I tended to grip the pen, is I've got like a claw situation with my hands sometimes claw up, so I can't really transform stuff. Sometimes I'll get Transformers and I have to wait 2 weeks. I have to get like massage or so, physical therapy done on that, you know, little needles stuck in. So sometimes with some Transformers I really like, and if they're hard to transform, I might personally make the decision of getting another Transformer. Like, for example, Runabout and Runamuck, which I would never have bought freaking duplicates for, but because it was such a nightmare for me and would cause my hands to flay up just because of the squeezing and the moving around and the flexibility, I ended up getting to him. And I say I ended up getting to him, Mainline got the copies for me because she saw what it was doing to my hands. And
so for you, it's like a medical thing, isn't it? Because of the problems with your hands, you have to have them.
Yeah, I can't play my console for 2 weeks. I can't, you know, I'm stuck, you know, my work suffers, you know, I'm typing more than I'm writing with notes.
But would you say you would, for bots you particularly like, you would buy 2 copies
Beast
of them
bots,
so you can have them in both modes?
Yes, especially for the beast animals like Dinobots, Terracons, the headmasters that transformed, like, you know, Mind White, Weird Wolf. You know, I absolutely love the wolf modes.
And I have to say, I think, like you just said, the ones that are Gestalt, the ones that are the combiners, I think you kind of sometimes want to have two copies, because then you can have the combined form of, you know, for example, Bruticus, but then you can have all of your Combaticons as their individual bot modes in front as well, if you're a particular fan of that team. I get some people might like, well, what's the point? But if you really are a big fan of that, you know, I mean, I've got the Transformers with more than one version. I've got 2 versions of Sentinel Prime, the 2 versions that were released in Titan's Return, because I really like that bot and I like the look of him. But, you know, do I need 2 of them? Probably not. But like you said, it's your money. If it makes you happy and you can afford it and you've got the space, why not?
And I think the situation's almost been created a bit easier in the sense that Hasbro's doing repaints of the exact same mold. So you're going to have the Netflix version, which is a slight difference. So for in my case, sometimes I'll wait for the Netflix version to come out. And in other cases, sometimes I'm being forced to get more copies of Optimus Prime, not because I want to have enough Optimus Prime, it's just because this one looks a bit better.
It's interesting because that segues very nicely into another point that was made by Matthew Small, because Matthew Small said, are there too many repaints now?
Can I answer that question before? The question you just asked, I was the one about the multiple bots. Multiple bots. I had a...
Oh, sorry, yes.
So I was going to say, so I completely agree with what you're saying. So I was just going to say, so a lot of the bots actually do, a lot of the bots, especially in season 2, you found that actually had a partner mold, so Inferno, Grapple, Red Alert, Sideswipe, etc. So you could always have one in robot mode, one in car mode if you wanted to, because again, sometimes price and space do make a difference. And I guess when I started out with this as well, I had a little corner of the house, and I've managed to evolve it. My wife's been very gracious with me and kind, let me have the space. And I guess, as you said, with certain teams as well, you want to have certain things. So I've got the Zeta Unicron, I've got the Unicron Plat. I always wanted to have this one in Plat mode, that one in Robot mode, because I felt that's how they atoned. And the Combaticons you touched upon, something that was my favorite combiner team. I have the Zeta combined mode, and I've got the MMC robot alt mode, because I think that's my favorite mode, but in combined mode, it's just not quite big enough. So I've toyed with getting you get 3D printed versions of the actual like limb extenders, which make that version connect to the Zeta torso, so it can be the same size as the Zeta one, but using the limbs and the extenders and stuff. It's like, but do you want, again, if I can afford to have both, I will. But again, like with RC, I've got the I've got two azalea pink, azalea purple, like the A and the normal. I've got the.
So why have you got so many versions of her? Do you think?
Fanstoys version. I've got the Takara version. I've got the Firebird version because initially I wasn't sure which one I liked, and I want to keep. And if I prefer, so with third party, I guess, or with Takara, if I find there's different versions. If I like one alt mode in one version, I like the Takara alt mode, the Takara RC, the MPRC which came out, which is now in the sale to Kapow buy for £95 if anyone wants to pick one up. It's a very good price. I like the alt mode for that. I prefer the rope mode now. I've decided I like the rope mode for the Fanstoys. I thought I liked the Azalea, the MMC, but after having it for a while and keep looking at them on the shelf, which I've got them both in here at the moment, I prefer the Fanstoys. So I'm probably going to sell.
You have multiple bots because you basically like certain aspects of certain ones.
Yes, but I will sell the other ones eventually. I've got that's open and play Big Spring with a face Scott from Shaw Mistlebrook, which is like taken from the Inferno to make it better. But I still have the Saltus. I've also now got the Apache, which is the Fanstoys, and I've also got the Extra Ambulance on offer. What I am doing, and I haven't released yet, is I've got like a comparison photographs of all the RCs together. And I want to give my just voiceover opinion of it. And again, and spoiler alert, it's very subjective. What bot is good for you is very subjective because again, some bots that have as tighter joints, so you can tighten joints. But again, it's what do you like in your bot really? So that it varies, and it's space and everything else. And again, for Prime specifically, I've got two versions of Prime because one I won in a raffle, which is just amazing, and the other one my wife bought me. So even though I've got MP44, I'll never sell my MP10 because my wife got it. So I've got a very close. So I keep that in my in alt mode. I've got the MP44 in that mode, but again, I didn't want to transform that, so I've got the care version, so I could transform it because again, I didn't want
to collecting multiple modes.
We were just talking about why you have multiple versions of a bot. Although we were going to
thoroughly
in bots.
We were going to just quickly discuss Matthew Small's comment, which was about repaints, because Jamie had said about the fact that they keep releasing, Hasbro keep releasing, slightly repainted versions of the bots at the moment. That seems to be their MO, is to repaint them and stick them out again, so the collectors kind of feel like they have to collect them. So have they taken the repaints too far? That's his kind of argument? Or is it up to you as a collector whether you pick it up? You don't have to. Nobody's forcing you or putting a gun to your head.
Deep cover looks cool. Like I've got Siege, and Jamie sent me was it Red Alert or the G2 version of Sideswipe?
G2 Sideswipe.
Yeah, such a nice mold. I'll probably pick up more, but when you look at like the Seekers, you kind of want to collect them all. So I think there's a bit of collect them all aspect to that. I don't.
Is that the clever thing they're doing then? Because people do want to collect all of them. Look at the popularity of things like Pokemon, where everybody gets obsessed with getting everything, and it's like with Transformers, it seems to be the same now. Let's release it 6 times in different colors.
You got a shiny
different individuals. You want some soldiers in there.
Yeah.
I think every collector wants that. You want some generic people. You can put a load of them together, and they are like the flight wing or the attack wing or something, and that's what it appeals to, isn't it? Like, has taken too far? Yeah, they definitely do.
Repaints have been going on, like Alexis just said. Repaints have been going on since the original Transformers. Even the first series of Transformers had repaints in it. Yeah,
but they did it with MPs as well. They released the MP Pluses, which was the same MP basically with a different windshield, and that was it. But people bought it, and then they said, "Oh, we'll just do it with our mainline toys."
And it happens in every single avenue of life, doesn't it? Of whatever you collect, not toys.
Exactly. If you want it, you'll get it.
Software, you get changes of software, but it's not really that different. And
just to change tack slightly, RJ also asked.
Wait, Jamie wants to make a point. Go on, Jay.
Oh, go on, Jay.
No, I was just scared what RJ's point might be.
RJ's unpopular opinion. I'm not sure if this is actually his opinion, but he's posted it anyway. Is that scalping is okay if people are willing to keep paying?
Good point.
So, what do you think? If people are willing to pay the price, do we really have a go at them for buying what they want to get and
that's
what they can afford? It's like you said, Jamie, it's your money. You can buy your things. So, is that true for everybody else? If they want to pay scalper prices,
if I don't like this,
there's always going to be rich people, isn't it? There's going to be people who have enough disposable income that if they miss out on a product, they'll buy it at the selling price, whether the black market dictates they'll buy it. So Jamie might have enough to buy a lot of product. He might miss one just through not being there on time. And I might do the same thing. Am I going to cry about spending an extra 20 or 30 pounds to get that one thing that I want to get when everything else I've got in my collection, I got release day? I probably won't. I'll pay to get that. You wouldn't miss out, would you? Now, we think we're quite good. We always get onto it on time, buy the Transformers as soon as they're released. And when I was a truck collector, I was the same. But if you missed one or two, you would pay truck price. You would pay the inflated price.
But if I pre-order something, right? So this piece here, right?
I want to know what Jamie thinks about that.
Go on, Jay. I don't think you really need to go into that. I think like Paul answered it quite well. I mean, I don't think you can blame the people paying the scalper prices. It's the scalper you're always going to blame, because I do think you don't want to come into this whole about attitude or try to get what people in the community can buy, because they want that thing. Allow them to get it. It's what brings joy to them.
That's it.
They're willing to pay the price they can. It might not be brilliant for you, and I feel for you, and I understand and I can appreciate it. But don't have a go at the person who's buying that thing, because you don't know what they might be giving up. They might not be going to the pub that weekend or buying or paying for satellite dishes, or you know what I mean. We don't have. We can start to fantasize too much and project too much onto these individuals. Paul answered it well.
I agree. I think it ties in a little bit with the whole thing that we've seen, well, not just recently. We've always seen in sales groups sometimes where somebody wants to sell their thing and they have a valuation on what they think that thing's worth. And there's a lot now of people putting laughing emojis and putting comments about the price being ridiculous. Well, if you don't like the price, scroll on, move on. It's not for you. Fine.
Have no idea what it's like in the graphics card groups or the trainer groups, like the Nike trainers, like that. Those two worlds alone are nothing compared to what it's like in Transformers.
We'll do one. Shall we do one more? Because it is. We've probably been on here for about 7 hours, so we should probably finish off soon. So let's see. What should we do that's interesting? I mean, we could do Is Inferno a wrecker, but we've already heard from Jamie, and we know categorically now that he. I'll be militant over
that. You're damn right.
I'll tell you what. Let's do one that's maybe not as G1 centric, because a lot of what we talk about has tended to come back to G1, because it does generally, I think it's fair to say. Is this an unpopular opinion that G1 is the most popular line in Transformers?
IDW and the movie, the 86 movie, like it's like late G1 and IDW is my favorite.
How are you measuring it though? Opinions don't count. How are you measuring it? There must be
in terms of popularity.
I'm starting to enjoy Beast Wars.
I think you'd measure it by sales of toys and things, wouldn't you? You'd measure it by what content Hasbro feel they need to put out, because that's what sells. If they thought that other lines were going to sell as much, they'd be putting them out, but they don't. And they've dipped their toe in with Beast Wars.
I might need an intervention, because I'm starting to enjoy some of the Beast Wars stuff, and I'm getting the figures.
But this is it. Is Beast Wars? Some people have said Beast Wars is by far the best written Transformers media, and we haven't really. I couldn't comment on that. I can't say it's not, because I've not watched enough of it or had enough of experience of it.
The comics
to really comment on it. But,
in the infamous words of Megatron, yes.
Okay, valuable contribution.
If you watch Beast Wars, he goes. Yeah.
I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just not sure
do that.
What he was.
What was he saying?
Yes.
In the infinite words of Warpath, kablamo. There's my contribution.
Or Cosmos, Aero Probe time.
They'll never believe you. Yeah, and there's lots of other ones that we could talk about that people very kindly posted. Rohan was saying Chromia, in his opinion, better character than Elita 1, or better than Elita 1 is certainly what he seemed to suggest. What do you think? I mean, Chromia, she had in the comic books, the IDW comic books, she got quite a lot of characterization and story, but yeah, I mean, I can't honestly say I've read enough with her in to be able to say, yeah, she's better than Elita 1. Jamie, I suppose you've read
Rohan doesn't read comic books, so he must have been basing it on the cartoon.
He must be basing it on the cartoon of the toy.
He's wrong. He's wrong.
sorry, Rohan. We've had word.
No.
And yes, Jamie says you're
wrong. Rohan to Nohan.
Anybody else got an unpopular opinion they want to throw out there before we finish? Nothing too controversial, please.
No.
You're laughing too much at that.
I
Go on.
can't say that. No, if we go back to my work, I'd get sacked.
Rumble is purple.
Wasn't even to do with.
You're gonna have to say it off here now because I want to know
Rumble
what will get you sacked.
Rumble is purple. Done.
It's to do with France.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
Wasn't. So.
All right. Skywarp is definitely bombshell.
Fuck off.
Why do you have to ruin a perfectly good night, Andy?
Nothing controversial.
I'm lying. He's Skywarp. It's okay.
Dude, put your hands up. Put your hands up if you agree.
Skywarp.
With
Andy.
Oh,
no, that wasn't my opinion. I was just offering a controversial opinion to see.
Jamie knew what was going on.
I just wanted to see if I could give Jamie an aneurysm. That's all it was.
One day. Right. Okay. Thank you so much.
Alexis will get there before me.
Don't touch him there. You should be. That's Maylin's place.
If you could go to if you're on Facebook, please go to Transformers The Show. Just type in Transformers The Show. We've got a group there. Please ask to join. There's loads of silly stuff we post every week, including all these polls and questions we ask for the discussion. Also, TF UK, Transformers UK. If you go to Facebook and search there, that is the mother base. That's the home we're all from. So Instagram, we've got an Instagram account, which Alexis posts once every 6 or 7 months.
Actually, about 3 or 4 times a day. Transformers The Show.
Jars. TF The Show UK.
No, TF Show UK.
Oh,
so close.
TF Show UK on Twitter. We also post there. That's it. Bon voyage. Au revoir.
Aye. Adios.
I want to drink wine.
All the same from Robot Recruits, Huffer. I was like, well, they're going to write in mine because they wrote in yours, didn't they, Andy? Just nothing invoice. Address. I want to get out and go, oh, look at these guys, Lisa. Like, they've written to Paul, love the show. I got out. I was like, okay. Cost me the full price on that postage, didn't you?
I don't know what to say because you look actually genuinely gutted.
Hang on. How did you order Huffer?
Like there's a little bit of death inside. We must be getting some traction though, because I'm friends with Thew on Facebook now.
I'm friends with a few people too.
Well, I'm assuming when he looked at like my profile, he'd have seen that like we're all obviously part of the YouTube community thing as well, and he is. And I'm assuming, but yeah, he accepted me friend request. So, because I sent a couple to like Russ and that lot that I hadn't actually friended, even though we've obviously met through the show. And I thought, oh, I'll send them, and it came straight up with you. And I went, what the hell? What's the worst you can do is ignore it.
Cool.
And he accepted it in about 5 minutes.
I started to show up to do about Transformers, ask you guys to get involved. And I thought maybe I might like get Few as a friend or something, or maybe like Robot Recruits might.
I like the idea you were trying to use this just to get up the ladder.
Hi or something in there.
Eventually, I will leave you all behind because I was
just all going to you.
Yeah, but
you succubus.
Sorry, just go.
A quick question then, Alexis. How are you going to do this unboxing so it's actually on camera?
Oh, I've made space. Can you tell that behind me? I've just stacked all the boxes. It's a corner.
Oh, I just thought it was the usual stack of boxes behind you.
No,
I didn't realise he'd made special effort.
It's $2.5 you spent this week.
When he says he made space, do you think he just gently pushed them to the side? The same way when Lucas tidies his room.
He just lays in a box of fans' toys and does snow angels with the boxes until his room.
It's like
I loved it last week. Was it last week when Alexis actually said, "Who said is this fans' toys?"
On fans' toys in the winter.
That was like 3 weeks ago or something.
It's like saying, "Is this show about Transformers?"
What are we talking about again?
I wouldn't know of your computer stuff every week.
I don't collect those.
Especially when it says comment.
Unlike my Thundercats, which obviously is going to be the next crossover, so I'm well in there.
Right,
I can't do. I'll tell you now. I can't do Fortnite because
we know. We saw you last night.
What you mean in that game when you all died and I was the last one left? Okay, but
I've got a thing.
All dead, and then you all had to go at me for dying. You were dead. What's the logic in that?
Alexis,
I got your crap.
Burn again.
You died
Say
last.
it again. Say it again. I've got a thing for tonight.
Oh, Andy set me up.
I don't know what I'm gonna set you up with again.
So say
about how good you are.
Huh?
Say you can't play Fortnite.
You can't play Fortnite.
No, do the bit. I
Yeah.
say, I forgot. I can't play Fortnite.
Oh, I forgot I can't play Fortnite tonight.
Yeah, we
Is it
saw
the
it
whip
last
noise?
night.
Because it's nothing to do with Claire.
No.
So it would be
Do it again
pointless.
from the start.
All right.
Which did it?
I can't play Fortnite tonight.
Oh, yeah, we saw because you were rubbish last night.
That was not worth the wait. That was not worth the wait. I was expecting something so much more.
Ulysses, kiss my cheese.
See the vein.
It's like the worst Brave Star movie. It's like the worst Brave Star powers ever.
Worst
Big
Brave
Brave
Star
Star.
movie from all those Brave Star movies.
I loved all those Brave Star movies. They were
Number
great.
2 was awesome.
Finger
was
of the Badger.
wank.
Pissed all over it.
Eyebrow
Brave
of the
Star, Finger of
Stoat.
the Badger.
Brave Star.
Tail of the Frog.
Doing what to a
Eye of
badger?
the stove, finger of badger.
He started
Brave
scraping the bow of
Star.
It could be Norwich Star.
Norwich Star.
Eye of the Badger. English animals. I don't know.
Just English animals.
Apparently, you had to have your microphone upright. You have yours at a dangly angly.
You
Does
can
that
do it
not
here.
matter?
If you're using the
Angle.
cardioid bit of the microphone, it is fine.
I have the mic right next to my lips as if I'm almost kissing it.
No, but I mean, I can do like.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
if you go in
though,
that
that's
way,
just generally.
so the only bit you need to have it set on. See this bit? So if I speak now, you can't hear me as well, can you? Because it's set to cardio, so all the good quality, I can swap it, and you'll hear me. So if I was interviewing someone, I could do it both sides. But you really want it on that one, which is just this side.
Yeah, it's
As long as I'm speaking to this bit here. So where your blue icon is and the power button, 2 inches above that is where you need to be speaking into. It doesn't matter if it's upside down or...
We've all watched The Warriors, haven't we? With the lady speaking into the microphone, telling the Warriors to keep running.
I've played the PS2 game.
I see. We know our stuff. Just the Warriors.
Me and Alexis are too young for that. Being
shut up.
being millennials, whereas you two are Gen X.
Is that better? How's that for you?
Oh, you mean dick? Sorry.
Oh, we should have saved this for an April Fool's type episode. Told everybody we were selling our own
Alexis
merch.
gives ratio to his mic.
Do you know what?
Can you make sure
I'm so
your
glad I stopped watching
Yeah, it
you
is.
do that.
microphones are set on that one?
It is. It is. It's on that one.
Correct.
You can see it.
That's good.
Like that, I can go tonight on Radio Cybertron.
No,
That's
not the
different.
top bit. It's this bit
That's
here.
right. Oh, we're at the front. So sorry, hang on. So not the top bit. This bit.
So, yeah, that bit. Because the bit talk to the top. Pretend you can give it head. Talk here. Like you were the whole time.
What's this
Talk here.
fossil word called?
Go on, speak words
Ob.
in the top bit. Alexis.
El said. Oh, wait.
It's not paleo tricks, is it? It's a different
Can
one.
you fix it? Bob the
Oh, I can't
Builder. Yes, he
So
can.
if you speak in this bit, it's a lot clearer. But if you start doing what you were doing earlier and you move over here, then it's
So how do I?
We
how do I-
watch
how do
this
I-
lot,
not
God.
as
He's a bit
quality.
chubby, isn't he?
So I probably want. How do I get to? All right, that's fine.
Didn't somebody say that?
How-
As
how do I
fossils
get-
are strictly
how do
speaking
I-
related to rocks, are these actually rock lords?
just do it like I've
Yeah,
got mine.
that's what I think. We were the ones that said that.
Was
In
it
fact,
us? Oh, genius.
I think we're the ones that coined that phrase. We call them
That's-
fossil words,
that- is
which
that-
are
that's
basically
better, yeah.
rock lords.
That is,
'cause it's
yeah,
mineral.
you sound better.
Lords.
Definitely.
He's a right fossil lord.
That's it.
So you want it like this, yeah? Like
Yeah.
this.
Oh, that's really good.
Kingdom
Yeah,
Toyline.
That is
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, you like.
Is it
yeah.
Rack
Bring it.
Tonight?
I mean,
Is that the
call
one
me a
you've got,
naughty boy.
Jamie?
No,
Rack
sorry.
Tonight.
Which one? There. Hang on.
I don't know. White dude. I just go. I don't know. White fossil dude.
Into my shirt. They've got 4 cufflinks. That is
Not playing games, Paul.
bling. That's
They're not
like
playing
that's,
games.
That's work jewelry. Hello, wife. Can I get Lucas a snack? We're playing Fanstoys Innuendo. Come here, have a look at what's going on. You have to go on the show.
Come join us, Lisa.
Lisa, you won't ever experience this
Can't-
ever
can't ruin
again,
the
thankfully.
show now. No, you're talking to me about cats.
This is
Fanstoys
gold.
Innuendo.
This is all going in.
So what it is is each week I get a photo of something and paste it over the picture of the Transformer. So can you remember Nils?
Almost like she doesn't watch the show and know what's happening.
The Swedish band. Bum erection?
Did they play? Didn't they play at your wedding?
No, they didn't
There's
play it at our
dance.
wedding.
It's
What,
never
how
been a
to get
wedding.
a snack now?
This is what he said. It's never going to be a wedding. Not in my day.
Right, I'll give something. It's just this is my favourite bit of the show.
Do you reckon Lisa could do it better than you?
He is my son.
Lisa
I
on.
know.
Go get him a snack and get Lisa on.
Yeah, put Lisa on. Let's do it. Sam's had a go. It's your turn. Come on, get Lisa on.
They're saying that Sam's had to go. It's your turn to come on the show.
Come on. Fuck off, Paul.
Don't say fuck off, Paul.
Sam, what we're all thinking.
They want
Sam,
to
what we're all thinking.
Alexis has opened the passive aggressive door.
Right, so I have to get milk for Lucas and snack.
Be my friend.
Was he asleep or not? So why do I have to shush?
Just trying to judge how long it is going to take to. Is he awake or asleep? I don't know.
Transformers The Show. Childcare issues.
You reminded me to do
Look who came knocking at my door. Thanks, Farmer Jean, for the fast.
Come on,
and the
Lisa.
Right,
On your
I have
jump.
Sorry. I have to
Put Lisa on. Let Lisa do a section, please.
Oh my God, get over her. Right, 3, 2, 1.
Few.
Oh, okay. Don't worry.